Good morning. Welcome to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ, 750 AM, 312-255-8408. Father Greg Sakowicz, rector at Holy Name Cathedral in Chicago, and co-host Mark Teresi, executive director of the cathedral. Mark, how are you doing this morning?
Very good, very good. We had an interesting weekend. Our little 6-year-old Lydia started school in Elgin, and she's home with the COVID test. She had a fever, and we dropped some treats off for all the kids, but we couldn't go in.
She has COVID?
Well, they're finishing the testing up. It's a longer test, but she had symptoms, so she was
Really?
home.
And she's 6 years old?
Yeah, the poor little thing.
This is Lydia.
Yeah, and so they have to, isolate all the kids and can't go in, just like before, so.
In fact, there is another family I know that same thing, their granddaughter, 10 years old, in school, and another child came down, tested positive. So now she has to stay home, the little girl, be tested, I think, once a week. Right now she's negative, but unfortunately, like you and I are in the studio here.
With the masks.
We're 6 feet apart, but with the masks from the Archdiocese, which I agree. And again, folks, if you have not been vaccinated, truly think that over. Think that over. I think.
Get the vaccine.
Now, I realize there might be medical reasons, but
right.
Get the vaccine. And and by the way, the weekend with the Cubs Sox, and that.
Let's not talk. Let's keep moving.
Alex Mills on Saturday pitched a gem of a game against the White Sox, and he was on fire, changing speeds. And the White Sox took 2 out of 3. But they've only been playing 500 balls since the All-Star break. And the Cubs are really, truly, will be in rebuild mode.
Right, and the White Sox have that magic you can see.
Well, the American League has some very tough teams. You got the Yankees, you got Tampa Bay, you've got Boston, you got Houston. Oakland is hanging around. So there's not going to be a cakewalk to the World Series at all. So again, 312-255-8408. That was our sports update. Also, you can get us on youtube.com/CatholicChicago, youtube.com/CatholicChicago. Catch us live. And our producer engineer is by himself right now, Javi Garcia, and he's doing a tremendous job. Javi, great job there. So our program this morning, Most Blessed Trinity Parish in Waukegan is serving the people of God with a preferential option for the poor. Among the many ministries of the parish are a food pantry and a soup kitchen. We have on the program a couple of representatives from Most Blessed Holy Trinity, guests Marvin Sabito and Father Tim O'Malley. Marvin and Father Tim, welcome to the program this morning. How are you, gentlemen? I hope you are there.
Great to be with you.
There we are.
There we are.
Welcome.
Welcome. Tim, how are you doing?
Doing real well. Enjoying a beautiful day up here after the cool breezes kind of swept into Waukegan.
I was going to say that it was the humidity the last week. But also, listen, we need to pray for the people in Louisiana.
Oh, yes.
New Orleans getting pounded by Hurricane Ida. Also still recovering from, in Haiti, the earthquake. And also the situation in Afghanistan has been horrible. So our prayers are out with all of them. Tim, you were ordained in what year?
1997.
I remember I was at your ordination and ordained 24 years. You're a tremendous priest of the Archdiocese. When you were newly ordained in 97, what was your first assignment?
St. Agnes of Bohemia Parish.
Oh,
little village.
And was the pastor Don Nevins?
No. The pastor was actually Cleet Kiley.
Or was it Cleet Kiley in 97?
Yes.
And were you there with John Klein at all then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
What a great man.
And then is Marvin also with us there?
Yep, I'm here, right here, Father.
Hello, Marvin. How are you?
Just fine, thank you.
Now, are you from the Waukegan area?
No, I'm actually from New Orleans.
Are you real? Are you really?
How is everybody doing down there?
How's your family down there, or cousins?
They have no telephones since last night, but as of last night, everyone seems to be okay. I was just telling Father Tim, my youngest brother has a couple of windows blown out and part of his roof gone, but they lost everything in Katrina. And I was telling Father Tim, we're praying to Our Lady of Prompt Succor. She never fails us yet, so they're all healthy as far as I know. So I'm sure later on my phone will light up as they begin to get coverage again.
Now, Marvin, let me ask you that, are they comparing this hurricane to Katrina back in '05, or no?
No, there's no way. I think what happened at Katrina, being in New Orleans is in the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the levees broke during Katrina, the water filled up and there was just nowhere to let it out. And so thankfully this time the levees never failed and the flooding hasn't taken care of.
Now
And
after
this
Katrina?
was,
Now, after Katrina, didn't they redo the levee system to fortify it
Yes.
for stuff like?
they put billions of dollars, the Army Corps of Engineers, and it seemed to hold up. But this storm it had a little bit higher wind speed. It was only about 50 miles. And I say only is relative, right? But
Yeah.
50 miles across versus Katrina was a monster storm. It was about 90 miles across. So thankfully there doesn't seem to be much loss of life at this point, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, so we certainly want to keep your family and everybody in that area in prayer because the winds were strong, and I saw the highlights on the news last night. That wind and the flooding going on, and the building roofs flying off. So well, maybe either Marvin or Father Tim, tell us about what is happening. The beautiful phrase, serving the people of God with a preferential option for the poor. And so tell us about the food pantry and the soup kitchen at the Most Blessed Trinity Parish.
It's work of a lot of priests over a lot of decades with the parish community. The food pantries have been available throughout years. This effort grew out of work that was done between St. Bartholomew Parish and St. Joseph Parish, which are both parishes, while suppressed, became what's called Holy Family Parish. And Holy Family eventually became part of what's Blessed Trinity Parish. But they were continually doing great work. And we've used the Blessed Trinity campus for different efforts. But the St. Bartholomew campus, about 20 years ago, became the place for the food pantry. They actually took St. Bart's Church, and it became the food pantry for the community. So for roughly 6 parishes, that's the main location for our food pantry.
Now, how does the supply chain work for a food pantry up there? Where do the resources come from?
Can I just, Marvin, let him talk?
Thanks. Multiple sources. Number one, we partner with the Northern Illinois Food Bank. And so they have their Lake County headquarters in Park City, which is also part of our parish community service area. We also get generous donations from food sponsors, grocery stores such as Trader Joe's, Jewel, Mariano's, Sunset Foods. We also have some very generous sharing parishes that provide not only food, but also manpower to support our food pantry. In addition to our food pantry, we have the soup kitchen. The soup kitchen runs every Wednesday through Saturday, regardless of the day of the year. So if it's Christmas or July 4th, they're still working every Wednesday through Saturday.
Now, Marvin, I have to ask you this question. How did you get involved in this ministry? Because you have even you're talking right now, such a passion for this. And this didn't happen in a vacuum. So how did you get to this point to being so involved with these ministries?
Well, I think it's, growing up in New Orleans, I always tell Father Tim, it wasn't until I left New Orleans, got out of grad school, that I realized the whole world wasn't Catholic, right? And so New Orleans is about as Catholic a place as there is. There's parishes instead of counties. And so it goes back a long way in my family. And then when I worked in the corporate world for about 30 years. And then I worked in my home parish in Highland Park for about 6 months. And then I got the opportunity to come up to Most Blessed Trinity Parish. And it's been a wonder, not only our food parish and our soup kitchen, but again, a little bit about our parish. I think it's the Mother Church of Lake County. I think at one time the boundaries went all the way to Iowa and all the way up to Wisconsin. And we always joked that we were the original Renew My Church parish before there was Renew My Church.
Right, exactly.
Well, now, Marvin, you say you've been doing this for 30 years. You look about 35 years old, because I see you on the video on the screen.
You're very generous. You haven't seen my hairline, right?
No, I can see the hairline. Yeah, I have to mean you don't go to the barber too often, but again, you look so darn young. That's incredible.
Well,
God bless you.
You've
been doing this for a long, long time.
Now, can I ask Father Tim, now taking this assignment, how long have you been in this assignment?
I'm at Blessed Trinity Parish for 3 years.
What kind of a decision was that for you to go there? Because it's a very challenging assignment.
It is in part because Greg used to see me every Friday morning during the school year, crossing his parking lot, heading over to the Chancery Center. I was part of the
Yes.
group of priests that make recommendations to the cardinal pastors.
Oh, okay.
I remember that, Tim.
And I was I was chair of that group, and we call it. And what happened was we didn't find a candidate willing to go up there,
Mm-hmm.
and
The board looked at you.
it was like who didn't do his job. So,
Because I used to be on the board from 2006 to 2010, so I forgot that you were the chair of the board. And believe it or not, now you're up in Waukegan, so I guess that answers the question. And let me ask you this, Tim, before we go to break. In the work you do in that dynamic area, what do you find to be the most challenging work for you as a priest?
oh golly, with our parish community as large as it is, for me the toughest thing has been reigniting getting people to come back to church over the last year and a half.
With COVID.
People are worried. One of the things that we do to help them is we feed them both at the food pantry and the soup kitchen. That's helped a great deal, especially in the 4 months when things were closed. We're not only doing the food pantry during the week, but we really encouraged our parish ministers to reach out. So myself and one of the one of the administrators in the parish, we would be giving out food on Saturday mornings to families. So it was something we just added to the schedule because we knew there were families who needed food.
That's beautiful. We're going to take a little break. WNDZ 750 AM Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. Or you can see us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We're speaking with Marvin Savito and Father Tim O'Malley from Most Blessed Trinity Parish. When we come back, maybe we could talk a little bit about each of your vocation journeys. What brought you to this ministry? We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
Catholic Charities in Lake County provides a comprehensive range of social services supporting individuals, families, and older adults. These include crisis assistance, shelter, clothing, family support, counseling, legal assistance, primary health care, and specialized services for seniors and veterans. Grab-and-go meals and food pantries help those who are experiencing food insecurity. Plus, we have a diaper depot to support low-income families and their infants. If we can assist you or someone you know, please call Catholic Charities of Lake County at 847-782-4000. That's 847-782-4000.
Do you have an old bicycle that's not being used? Consider donating it to Catholic Charities Veterans Bike Project of Lake County. Skilled volunteers are refurbishing bicycles to make them safe and ready to be used by veterans to get to and from their new places of work. We also gratefully accept financial contributions that are used to purchase bike helmets and other safety accessories. Our veterans have faithfully served the United States, and now it is our privilege to serve them. For more information on the Veterans Bike Project of Lake County, call 847-782-4219. That's 847-782-4219.
WNDZ 750 AM. On your dial, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. Or you can see us on YouTube.com/Catholic Chicago.
You know, Mark, it's hard to believe that it's the end of August. It just felt like it was Memorial Day, July 4th. Liberty Weekend is coming up next week. It's like, where did the summer fly?
Wednesday, September 1st.
Wednesday,
correct?
September.
Wow. Yeah, it's well, all the kids are going back to
Back
school.
and
you can see it.
the NFL starts 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, we're glad the baseball season is ending pretty
Well,
soon. Too.
for the Cubs,
least the
yes,
Cub
but not the
fan.
White Sox. Oh, my God, the White Sox just revving up, warming up.
Yes, exactly. Well, we're here with Most Blessed Trinity Parish reps Marvin Sabito and Father Tim O'Malley. And before the break, I asked a question. Maybe we'll start with Marvin. Many guests on our shows who are involved in ministry say they felt a call. There was some moment in their life where this was some of what God had called them to. Marvin, how did you end up 30 years in corporate? Maybe a little bit of what did you do in corporate? And then how did you end up in this ministry?
Thanks. I think sometimes the answer is not what you want to do, it's what God wants you to do, right? So I think God has a calling for all of us, and if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And
Exactly.
so I spent about 20 years of my life at a company called Granger.
Oh, sure.
Right, and so I moved all over. I think I had 13 moves in 20 years. Worked in international operations, so from Canada to Puerto Rico to Dubai and all sorts of places in the U.S. And then I worked for the Morton Salt division of Dow Chemical.
Oh, sure.
And so that was a neat experience. And then I worked for a chain of Le Cordon Bleu schools.
Oh.
And so that was a wonderful opportunity. But throughout that, my path through life's a little bit different. I didn't get married till I was 46 years old. So not your typical, younger person getting married. And so I always supported the church any way I could. I chaired my parish finance council for about 6-7 years, Immaculate Conception in Highland Park, involved my wife and I in all sorts of ministries there. And then I found this opportunity to work with Father Tim. And I told him our population up here is predominantly Spanish speaking, is their first language. And my
now, Marvin, how did you end up moving to the Waukegan area if you were in Highland Park? And you went further north?
I still live in Highland Park. I live in Highland Park, and I make the lovely drive up Sheridan Road every day. So it's about 35 minutes, and so it gives
that
me
must
a chance
be real fun in winter.
Oh, it's okay. It's there's worse things to do, and so I get to pass through some lovely communities, and I spend a lot of time on the phone anyhow, so it doesn't matter if I'm on the phone at the office or on the phone in between stops. And so I still lived in Highland Park. Again, as I said, it's about 35 minutes up. Then I always call it the milkman route. So in our 6 campuses, we have 23 buildings. So I stop by our Queen of Peace campus, see what's going on there. Then I stop by our A Street campus, the food pantry and soup kitchen. Then I make my way up to the campus on Keller. And then we have another campus in the school at Immaculate Conception. And then we have a campus that Father Tim's doing some wonderful work on the Martin Luther King area. And then we have another one, Mother of God. So
now you are, Marvin, the business manager of the whole operation.
I try. Yes, I guess my official title is operations director, but I just call it trying to herd cats, keep us going down the railroad at the same time. And a parish of this scope and this size, that's about all you can do.
I think you and Mark Teresi should have lunch together.
Yes, let's have lunch every week. Now, what about Father Tim? What about your journey, your vocation? Did you grow up in Chicago?
Yeah, I'm Chicago native. So grew up, raised as a kid in the city, southwest part of the city until I was about 10. Did move north. The education included, I graduated from Loyola Academy. Then I went on to Purdue University. I specialized in accounting. And then after I finished it, worked for a few years and started law school. So also licensed as a lawyer here in the state of Illinois. And it was a few years later that I, still discerned there's something, Lord is calling me to priesthood still. I thought I had sorted it out after I went to college, and I looked at the Jesuits, and I discerned that I didn't have a vocation with the Jesuits. I didn't realized that meant I didn't have a vocation to be a priest. So a little bit of a surprise. 10 years
Now,
later,
Tim,
I
let me
was
ask you,
enrolling at
what year did you graduate Loyola Academy?
1978.
So then, okay, then you would have been after Ken Simpson and Joe Tito, who graduated Loyola Academy in the early 70s.
Yes, I know Joe Tito was a classmate of one of my brothers who graduated, I believe, in
1970.
72. Was it 70?
Yeah, so because I was 71 Notre Dame, and they were Ken and Joe were 70 from Loyola. So I didn't realize you went to Loyola Academy, and with that particular journey. But again, you're like Marvin. You look so young. Maybe Mark, because I'm getting so old. Everyone else is looking younger now.
That could be it. Yeah. Yeah. So how did you end up at Mundelein? Did you end up at Mundelein? Was Mundelein where you studied?
I did. It was a great 5 years, pre-theology, theology. And I had studied Spanish since I was at Loyola Academy. So I used it in high school. I used it at college. I used it with clients or employees in the business world, just like Marvin did. And but I didn't find a bride from Waukegan. Marvin found a bride from Waukegan area.
Wow.
So he's a happy guy.
Yes, my wife is of Slovakian heritage, part of her, and so she actually, her mother and grandmother actually went to Mother of God Parish when they had a school open on 10th Street. So it's
my goodness.
And I had never really spent much time up here. So God does work in serendipitous ways sometimes, right?
So if my wife were here, her question would be, how did you guys meet?
Somebody actually set us up the old-fashioned way, right? So
really?
In my 40s, I actually wasn't looking to get married. I had a pretty good life, and all sorts of things, and God had other plans. And it's been
here's a great
the best
line.
10 years of my life, though.
Here's a great line that I heard. A guy says, "I told my wife I want to be cremated. She made an appointment for me for next Tuesday."
But we digress.
on this program, we fly in all different directions. But Marvin and Tim, you've been very flexible with us right along the way.
Now, what are the challenges, Father Tim and Marvin, with 6 campuses? So my position at Holy Name is executive director and just started last October. I'd worked for 3 years on planning. We have a strategic plan. And Marvin, you alluded to the complexities of, you said herding cats, but I mean, Parish is very different than a corporate entity. Some similarities, but what do you find, both of you, what do you find the challenges with the multiple campuses?
And also add to it COVID-19.
Right, exactly.
I think a couple things I've learned, and I've done a lot of volunteer work in the nonprofit sector. I've been on United Way boards and Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and all sorts of stuff. But I always remember a touching moment that Father Tim mentioned to me that, again, you have to remember I spent 30 years in the corporate world. So when COVID first hit, I'm looking at the financials, and we were bleeding money at that time because our churches were totally shut down. I told Father Tim, our food pantry and soup kitchen have to shut down. I'm saying I just started because they don't make any money. And he said, no, they're pastoral. That's what we do here. And it's a real moment for me when I realized the difference between a church mission and some of the corporate world. In the corporate world, you just shut down an entity. And so I've learned and grown, and God has provided. So every day I say a prayer and figure out how we're going to pay these bills. But I think that the thing I've learned at our parish, it's large, it's old, except for the Holy Family Campus. Most of our buildings are well over 100 years old, and we're in a poor area. And so it's, I think we would be amiss if we didn't thank some of our generous sharing parishes. We have St. Mary's in Lake Forest, we have St. Patrick's in Lake Forest, we have St. Joe's in Libertyville, and many neighboring parishes give to us, not only financially, but people that help support our food pantry and soup kitchen and prayers. And it's kind of a neat story. The pastor of St. Mary's in Lake Forest, he actually grew up at where our food pantry is now, and that was his church. And the school he went to is where our soup kitchen is. And so it's a wonderful story from there. So it's a wonderful tapestry and a community, a mosaic of different ethnicities that come through. That the parish Immaculate Conception is originally scheduled for the Irish, and then the Germans came to St. Joe's, and then the Lithuanians came, and then the Croats and the Slovenians and the Slovakians and the Polish, and now the Latino communities of different ethnic origins. So it's wonderful. So I think that's what keeps you going every day when once a week, Father Tim and I, we take time from our day and we actually work in the food pantry for a couple hours every Wednesday. And I think it's a wonderful way for us to keep grounded and realize the purpose behind what we do. And so you go back and because as well as profound appreciation for our staff members and volunteers to do that day in, day out, right?
Now, along those
Sleep
lines,
in.
Tim, with Marvin's talking about, and that is, in the challenges you have, like from one pastor to another, is how have you been able to do everything you do in light of COVID-19 with all the challenges all the pastors have been going through, all the people, the laity, staff members from March of 2020, that just when we thought things were getting better this summer, it's rearing its ugly head again now with the Delta variant, and they say that Lambda is on the way after the Delta variant. And so I'm sure this has been very hard on you because we're all about community, to bring the community together. And what does COVID-19 do? Stay at home, Zoom meetings, wear masks. Now, we're not at a level in church right now with 6 feet apart seated like we were before, but how has that whole challenge been working for you in light of also then feeding the poor?
I think that we are delighted to bring people together. That's a big issue for me. Not only are we bringing people together, we've demonstrated over the last, probably 14 months, that people can come together in our churches. There have been no cited transmissions from one person to another. I really think the use of a mask has been effective. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that we don't close the doors again. I can also share that the staff, some of them, it was fine. They were working from home. I insisted that Marvin work from home. Marvin has a neat set of tools that he shares with us, and we meet. Originally, it was 3 times a week, but twice a week online with the staff or key leaders of the staff. And it's really just a simple set of rules that's coming from the business world. They have an acronym, RACI. So who's responsible, who's accountable, who needs to be consulted, who needs the information when we are making decisions and come up with decisions.
Tim, repeat that again. What are those little phrases again? Because Mark is writing this down.
In the business world, I have an MBA as well as undergraduate. They always teach you the RACI formula and who's responsible, who's accountable, who you communicate with, and who's informed. And I think oftentimes we just think it's, communication on a need-to-know basis. And so even if you aren't the decision maker at appropriate time, there are different people need to be involved. And so we try to do that. Getting back to running a parish this size, I think it's communication at all levels. And Father Tim always hears me, I don't think communication is on and off, it's more a dimmer switch. And so how do we continually improve? And I think that's the challenge we face. And, we've been very fortunate. I think we try to maintain that high touch, high tech that, we look forward to a day when everyone's back in church and we go from back to over 6,000 people a weekend in Mass. That's how we used to have it. But we've got the tools in our toolbox now to do different things. Yeah. We can voice over IP phone systems. So all of our 6 campuses are connected. We have our own parish unique conference call numbers that we can use at any time. We have Zoom calls, we have Teams calls. And so our team has done wonderful things as far as adapting to technology. Mm-hmm. I think it'll never replace being in person. I think we all love that. Our parish council meetings now, people that want to dial in can dial in via Zoom. People that want to be there in person can be there in person. So I think those are lessons learned that we're going to take with us. We're all looking forward to the end of COVID or sometime in the hopefully not too distant future. But I think the tools we've learned or lessons we learned will continue with us much into the future.
We need to bring this segment to a close. I want to thank in a very special way Father Tim O'Malley and Marvin Sabito for the great work they do at the Most Blessed Trinity Parish in Waukegan. God bless both of you. Father Tim, you've been a great priest ordained in 1997. Keep up your marvelous work, and along with Marvin. And you're listening to WNDZ 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408, or get us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Father Greg Sakowicz, Mark Teresi will be back in a few minutes. 8:31 in Chicago on this beautiful Monday morning. Do not touch that dial.
Thank you.
The COVID-19 pandemic, Catholic Charities has continued to respond to the needs of people who come to us for assistance. More than 850,000 meals and food parcels have been offered to those who are struggling with food insecurity. Over 108,000 homelessness prevention hotline calls have been answered. Over 22,000 people have received mental health services, and $2 million in financial assistance has been provided to keep people housed. If you or someone you know needs assistance, email us at gethelp@catholiccharities.net. That's gethelp@catholiccharities.net. Or call 312-655-7700. That's 312-655-7700. Before, during, and after COVID-19, Catholic Charities is here for you.
The cemetery ministry is a core ministry of our Catholic faith tied to the corporal works of mercy. It's comforting to know that our Catholic cemeteries are caring for the remains of our loved ones awaiting the resurrection. There are 44 Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic cemeteries willing to help you in your time of loss. Call 708-449-6100 or visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org. Catholic Cemeteries, serving the Catholic community since 1837.
You're listening to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM. Every Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Archdiocese of Chicago presents programming about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning. Now again, Catholic Chicago.
Welcome back to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM. Father Greg Sakowitz, Mark Teresi, 312-255-8408. And you can get us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. It was a great first half hour, Mark, and we have a great second half lined up. Sheil Catholic Center is the Newman Center at our Northwestern University, which serves the students of Northwestern University and those alumni and friends who support us in that mission. Guests, Father Bradley Zamora and Mary Deely. Brad and Mary, welcome to the program this morning. How are both of you doing?
We're
are you
doing
with us?
Well, thanks, Father Greg.
Boy, it's been Mary, when was the last time you were on this radio program?
It's been a little while. I think about 3 or 4 years ago.
And things that was when you had just written your last book, which was entitled
Remembering God.
Now, have you written a book since then?
I've been involved in another project on the reflections for RCIA candidates for the Sunday readings and feasts of the year. And so that's been a 3-year project.
Now, seeing you on the screen here with the YouTube, you're looking younger than ever. So that's great. Now, are you with us also, too, Father Bradley Zamora? Are you there, Brad?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
How are you, Brad? Oh, beard and all. And your Northwestern jacket.
Yeah.
Your jacket. At,
you got to represent. You got to represent.
And the thing is, well, you're built like a lineman for the team anyway. So for the football. Now, football begins at Northwestern this Saturday, correct?
You got it.
And Northwestern's
Go
taking.
Cats.
Who are they taking this weekend? Who's their game? Do you remember? Do you know?
I think they have Michigan this weekend.
Wow.
Home or away?
It's a home. I think it's a home game.
Yeah, because
It's a big game.
to go to the big house in Michigan with 113,000 is really rough. But
Yeah.
Michigan is tough. But I'll tell you, Northwestern is one tough football team. And Brad and I were together at the cathedral because, Brad, you were ordained in 2014. It was your first
got it.
assignment. And then when I arrived in 2016, you were gracious enough to spend an extra year while doing double work at Holy Name Cathedral and Mundelein Seminary, Director of Liturgy. But now you are brand new at Sheil Center as of July 1. So, Brett, I need to ask you, how's it been for the first 2 months transitioning to your new assignment? You're smiling, for those that can see you.
Yeah, no. It's been easy. And that's how I know that this was, I think, the right discernment of the Spirit for where I needed to be. I've had very little anxiety, very little fear about this. And the community's just been phenomenally welcoming and open. And to work with a phenomenal team that Sheil has, especially my sidekick who's with me today here, Mary Deely, it makes life just enjoyable and joy-filled to be a part of a community that is truly alive in the love of Jesus and knows that the Spirit is with it, guiding it. So, I mean, for the first time being a pseudo pastor as the director and chaplain, it's kind of a dream.
Yeah, because I spent 6 years at St. Mary's in Evanston, so I know the Sheil campus well. Mary, for a second, you've been involved and have worked at Sheil Center for how many years?
This is my 25th year.
25th year. And maybe for our listeners, can you give us a brief history of Sheil Center? Like, when did it begin?
The Sheil Center began as the Sheil Club, a student club in 1939. The first 100 students, and we still have the letter that they wrote to the cardinal at the time, asked for a chaplain, and the cardinal assigned, who was then the associate at St. Mary's, Father Connie McGillicuddy.
Oh, yeah.
And,
oh, my gosh, yeah.
And he became the chaplain of the club. They bought a house that not too far from where our current location, and the club met there. It met first in various classroom buildings on campus and began to grow. And then they bought the house at 1944 Sheridan, and they outgrew that by the 50s. And we began to campaign to build the building we are in now, which is at 2110 Sheridan.
And that building was completed in what year? And that building was completed in what year?
1969.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, 1967.
So, Brad, your excuse me.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Brad, your former boss at Mundelein, Father John Carchi, was in your position a while ago. Do you have any advice for you in terms of coming over to Sheil?
Yeah, when the appointment for me to Sheil was a surprise. It wasn't on the radar for me to be moving. But when the cardinal approached me about it and I talked with John about it, he just smiled and he said, "You're the guy." He's like, "I understand why the cardinal thinks that you're the person who should go there." And really in that moment, sort of having someone who had been a mentor for me while I was at Mundelein, helping him in many ways, lead and establish good worship at a place that he and I both love. There was a great consolation in him saying, "You're the guy for the job, and I know you want to lead someplace, so go for it."
Now, Brett, I have to ask you this. You said the transition from Mundelein Seminary to Sheil Center was relatively painless and not totally stressless, but better than you thought. But what's been the biggest change to go from a major theologate seminary, Mundelein, University of St. Mary of the Lake, to a Sheil Center? It's a completely different ministry. What do you find to be the most challenging but most rewarding in the first 2 months? Now the students are just starting to come back.
Sure. I mean, we have a very focused understanding of what our mission is at Mundelein, right? You're forming parish priests. I think the Sheil Center is a place where everyone is discerning what particular vocation they might have in their life. So you have to come at it, I think, from every different possible angle to be able to truly accompany those who are students of Northwestern, because you have the gamut of what students might be studying, where they might be in their relationship with Jesus, if there's a relationship with him at all. And so to be able to sort of step into that breach and really listen docilely to those places where the Spirit is obviously present and sort of draw that out of them is a different approach, because I've been very focused on accompanying young men who knew and had discerned that God was calling them to a particular vocation as an ordained minister in the church.
Now, along those lines, along those lines, Mary, you've been there at the Sheil Center now for 25 years. So when you started, Brad was about 5 years old, and so when we can't hear you, Mary.
You're not on.
You're not on. You're on mute or something there, so we couldn't hear you. Now, when Brad started at the Sheil Center, what advice or words of wisdom did you share with him, being a 25-year vet with a rookie coming in? What words did you share with him?
Well, I think I shared. Can you still hear? Can
now
you hear me now?
Yeah, now we
loud
can.
and clear.
Now we
Yes.
can, yeah.
I think I shared first that what's the most important thing? It's to love the people here. It's to love the ministry that
Amen.
you are doing, and to love being a priest while you do it. That will be one of the most important pieces of ministering in any community, in any
I like
faith
that.
community.
That's a great answer.
And then to just share the vision. I think we all of us on staff talked about having a vision or sharing a vision with us, which Father Bradley has done wonderfully well. But what's been great about it, and one of the places the Holy Spirit has worked, is gathering us all to help form that vision. It wasn't coming in and saying, okay, this is what we're going to do because this is my vision. It was rather saying, let's form this vision together. And so part of that collegiality has really seeped into everything we're doing right now. And I so appreciate that.
And building on your wonderful history. What a tremendous history you have. We're going to take a little break. WNDZ, 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. Or you can watch us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We will be back in a few minutes with Father Bradley Zamora, Mary Deely, and we'll continue. I want to ask Mary when we get back, how did you end up at Sheil? What drew you to it? And you've been there 25 years, which is a tremendous commitment. When we get back, let's talk about that and then see how long Father Bradley plans on staying at Sheil.
Yeah,
maybe 25 years.
You're going to match Mary.
Yeah, we'll be back. Bye-bye.
There's so much waiting for you at Catholic Charities Senior Services. We offer programs and services to help make the most of every day. Friendships and fun are guaranteed at our drop-in senior centers. Our adult daycare centers offer enjoyment and greater supervision to seniors who need it, while their caregivers get a break. Holy Family Villa provides a beautiful, safe environment for seniors looking for short or long-term residential facility. And we offer assistance with senior benefits, care coordination, congregate and home-delivered meals, hospital transition, and much more. For more than 100 years, we have accompanied seniors through every transition in their lives, and we are here for you now. Catholic Charities is a name and an agency you can trust. Call Senior Services today at 312-655-7700. That's 312-655-7700.
I feel special. I feel great. I got good grades.
We've seen a huge surge in our kids now meeting or exceeding grade level. Come check us out. You may have never thought we were an option before.
We're back, WNDZ 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408, or you can see us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We're with Father Brad Zamora and Mary Deely from the Sheil Catholic Center in the Newman Center at Northwestern. And Mary, before the break, I posed the question, you've been there 25 years. What brought you there, but what keeps you there?
What brought me there was my own personal mission of preaching and teaching the gospel, and I have done that in both by teaching in college and university campuses and by preaching the word in various ways on those campuses. But I have moved back and forth because God has a sense of humor between being full-time teaching or full-time ministering, and part of that ministry is teaching in many ways and forming, and the opportunities to preach are many, but in different forms. And so that brought me to Sheil after 10 years at Seabury Seminary teaching scripture, and before that at Loyola part-time and at Northwestern occasionally. And that's been a great blessing for my life.
Beautiful. You've had such a tremendous journey. It amazes me, your entire life, adult life, has been in ministry with and for the Lord in different ways, and God is good. You've been such a blessing because the work you've done at Northwestern 25 years. Because when I arrived in 2010, we were involved with meetings together, and you're tremendous. A woman of deep faith and vision and passion, always welcoming, inviting people in, listening to their story. Along those lines, Brad, you've been there now 2 months, so literally you're brand new, and you started at a time when the kids are still away and they're just now coming back to campus. But in the 2 months you've been there, a very, very short time, what has surprised you most in a positive way?
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing, and I don't know if it's a surprise because the Spirit is always at work in the church, but I would say just the willingness of the community and the team to really lean into this unique moment of transition. And I'm not necessarily talking about the fact that the Sheil Catholic Center has a new director and chaplain in me. I'm talking about this moment of transition really that our church is in as we begin to ease out of pandemic life. So one of the questions that I began wrestling with shortly after I learned of my appointment was, it's one thing to say, okay, we need to welcome people back, but the real question is, what are we welcoming them back to? And what I found in the Sheil team there was a real desire, a fire really, to really engage that question and dive into who we are as Sheil, and to begin a journey in really seeing how we can build on the fantastic foundation that exists, an even brighter future where we're truly alive in the Spirit. And that's not just true of the team that's there, that's been true of our associate community, who I've gotten to know over the last 2 months. Those alumni and friends who support and believe in our mission of accompanying the students of Northwestern. I've been spending most of my evenings walking with them throughout the neighborhood, just so we could get to know each other, and people who have been a part of the community who don't know each other could get to know each other. And it's just been so fruitful to see the goodness of the Lord present in this community, and the awareness that the Spirit is calling us to something that's exciting.
Now, along
and
those lines,
new.
Brad, which is some great stuff there, is your predecessor, Father Kevin Feeney, a tremendous priest, the Archdiocese. What words of wisdom did he share with you as he passed the baton on from Kevin to you?
Yeah, I think Kevin's greatest advice to me was just be yourself. Be Bradley, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's who the Spirit has discerned to be this leader. So don't try and be anyone other than who you know the Lord has created you to be. And so I told the Sheil team in one of our first meetings that I can't help be anyone but myself. So I'm sorry for that in advance, but this is who you are, you know.
This is who you're stuck with.
Well, here,
no, you'll do a great job there, Brad.
Here's a little vignette with Brad. I remember when I was at Mundelein, Brad was one of those seminarians with energy and ideas. And I don't know if you remember this, where your grandma gave a gift and we put those beautiful songbooks into the chapel, and she dedicated, them to the seminarians. And Brad was instrumental in that. That always impressed me. You were always a leader at the seminary, and now you'll share leadership at Newman, at the Newman Center. What might that look like? How do like your parish isn't only students. I know many folks that go to Sheil for Mass, and they consider it their
Evanston surrounding
and
area.
they consider it their parish. How do you share leadership? Like Brad, you're saying the church is changing. Mary, the church is changing. What kind of new models of leadership are you going to be a part of there? Maybe both of you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and one of the things that I shared in certainly my meetings with my closest collaborators, who's the Sheil team, we're all aware that I'm the boss at the end of the day, right? I'm the director and chaplain, but I don't want to operate from that space. I want us to really have a spirit of synodality that Pope Francis talks about, where we actually walk together. We are bold in what we have to say, but we're also bold in the way in which we listen to each other, because it's in that tension ultimately that where the Spirit is actually calling us is revealed. And I'm grateful that the team's been doing that. And the same is what I said to the community. I tell them all the time, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you're thinking. I don't operate in a silo or a vacuum. The church is the living, breathing body of Christ, and it looks like something. And when I look out from our altar every Sunday, I see it. So how is Christ sort of working in the lives of people? And it's a challenge to me to have to constantly say, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you're thinking, because that informs our vision, and that informs really how we as a team authentically and truly accompany our people, whether they're students or they're those who support us in that mission of being Christ to the students of Northwestern
It's always
University.
about relationships and welcoming people and sitting around the table of the Lord. It emanates from Eucharist. Now, Mary, you've been there since the mid-'90s. What changes have you seen over 25 years by way of the community, by way of ministering? Because you've been truly a veteran, and to be in the same place for 25 years, God bless you. And yet you still, after 25 years, have energy like if this were day one, like Brad just starting. So what changes have you seen over the 2.5 decades?
Really, I see two things. I see changes in how students approach faith. The questions always stay the same. They want to know who they are and what they're going to do and how they're going to make a difference and what does God have to do with that. And so there are changes in what they have encountered in the world. And so the wrestling, the different challenges that they have come to the fore. And part of what our mission is to form those student leaders who will go out then and be a part of church in a different way, who will understand that they've encountered Christ and that Christ does have a place for them and have a mission for them in the body of the larger church. And that excites me. Students, I think, come in eager to form community with one another and to encounter community. And does that mean we have zero challenges in that? Absolutely not. We have all kinds of challenges. That's what makes it so interesting, and that's why it's really important that we recognize the Holy Spirit's active. But every interruption, every opportunity is an invitation to go deeper, and everybody has to go deeper. And so being able to do that for 25 years has been a joy and a delight.
And Mary, what you're talking about, at least what I'm hearing, your place is a seedbed for vocations, a variety of vocations, like the gentleman that was on our show earlier, Marvin Sabido, is working the food kitchen, the food pantry. He's operations person for 6 parishes in Waukegan. He worked corporate for 30 years and then really discovered his vocation. Now, one of the things about Newman Centers, at least Brad, you can elaborate, or Mary, on this, they are a seedbed for vocations, and many vocations to religious life or priesthood currently are coming from Newman Centers. I don't know if either of you want to talk about that at all.
Yeah, I mean, one of the very clear sort of marching orders that I received in taking this appointment was to be intentional about creating a space in which discernment of a vocation to ordained ministry can actually happen. So all of the campus ministry centers in the Archdiocese are working with the vocations office and sort of making sure that those that are from the Chicagoland area in particular know of the resources that exist for them to consider diocesan priesthood. But it's so much more beyond that. I think women and men at this particular age are looking for ways in which they can go deeper, as Mary said, into their faith. And a lot of times that means when you feel like you've gone deep enough into the study, when you've gone deep enough into the prayer and there's still a longing, that might mean that there's a call to service in the church in some particular way.
Brad, I hate to cut this off, but we've just run out of time. I'm getting signals here from the directors here. So I want to thank in a very special way Father Bradley Zamora and Mary Deely from the Sheil Catholic Center, doing a marvelous job and team up well with you. Our prayers are with you. Special thanks to our co-host, Mark Teresi, great work of our engineers, producers, Michael May, Javi Garcia. May God bless all of you. Have a blessed week and a blessed Labor Day weekend.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.